Welcome back to another game. Update, still no message from Gotham Chess. So we play the Van Geet again. Every time we get the opportunity to play with white, we're going to be launching knight c3 first. Good win rate. I think we've got a good share of the opening so far. e6, so this usually transposes into a French. Okay. Bishop here's the move. The idea is we're trying to trade off the dark squared bishops, because in the French, black's light squared bishop is the piece that's not so good. So if we can trade off the dark squared ones, that gives us an advantage. So opponent's rated 2035, joined 2 weeks ago, and 11 games. So actually they've got less games than we have. What are we up to now? Yeah, about 23 games versus their 11. So they're a bit of an unknown entity. They've also only played rapid, and they've got a bit of a provisional rating. So this could go one of a couple of ways. They might be like 2500 or they might be 1800, but we'll see what happens. Should be for an exciting game. Okay, so they bring the knight out. I think we just develop our piece, right? It's not a threat for them to take here yet, because their queen drops. If push, we'll be forced to trade, and then maybe drop back. I mean, we might invite like an early g5, given that black's not castled, so they could play h6. We can't drop back straight away because g5. Oh, we could drop back straight away, but then we're forced to trade, and they've got the option of coming up with the queen in that line. So I think h6 will take the knight there. They'll recapture. We'll play bishop h4. They could then go g5, force us back. And then maybe like a h5 there, bishop there. I think that's a sample line for it. And actually, I'm not so enthused with that from my side. I think they get a bit of counterplay, and given they've not castled, they've got the option of then going queenside with quite a hefty early pawn storm against my position. But we'll see what they go for. I mean, this could also be kind of interesting, right? Playing c5, idea being you try and getting your queen out this way to unearth the attack on the knight. So I think that's a candidate move. c6, probably c5, or h5 is what I'm expecting. So like I say, on h5 I'm going to take, well, probably on a lot of these lines I'm going to take actually, or move this knight. So c5, probably going to take as well, and then develop my bishop out somewhere. Yeah, I would have thought, okay, so bishop out, so this is now a threat. Originally I was thinking takes, but other option, I could drop back to g3, but then on h6 I'm more inclined to have to take there. Given that they're cramped, I don't necessarily want to do that, although that does give me the 5 square for my knight, which is kind of nice, so I think we'll go into that. And of course, if they take with the bishop, I'm kind of happy to trade that off, and like I say, leave them with this poor light squared bishop. See what kind of line they want to go for. And then the other consideration I've got is whether do I play c4 and try and grab a big centre, or play c3, a bit more conservative and protect my pawn structure. It's good that they're taking their time. Usually, as we've seen, I get into some time trouble, but I've been playing a bit of 1 minute chess on the chess.com account, so I don't know whether that's trickling through into this now of playing a bit quicker, but most likely I'll end up taking a load of time in the middle game and end game, and this time advantage will start to disappear. So I suppose three moves. Knight takes, I think, is sensible. Yeah, the bishop or the pawn were the other two options. So this vacates the square for my knight to go to, but I like just a simple developing move. This might cause some tension in the future. This launches a more immediate attack on the h7 pawn. But I think so. What's he going to do about this bishop is basically the question, right? So do you go b6, bishop b7, or are you going this way, or are you trying to play for e5? I'm thinking you're probably going to go this way, and I'd like to insert bishop up when you do that. So my first thought was to play bishop here, but actually if you're going to do this, I'm only going to go there the next move. So I think it makes sense to maybe just play a more waiting move, more containing move like c3. I mean, engine will probably say play, c5 would be very ambitious. c4 would probably be what the engine would say. I also quite like jumping my knight in, but it feels a bit loose that this bishop can be attacked if the knight moves, and they can kind of trade everything off, right? So if their knight goes back, everything's kind of coming off. So I like just starting with c3 and just kind of seeing what they're going to do. Don't think the knight's got any decent jumps, because of course he's got a queen and a bishop staring at my bishop if the knight was to move. So any knight jump, they would attack my bishop twice, and I've only got one defender with the knight. So like I say, I'm either expecting h6, in which case we've got the option of where we place our bishop. I actually think I might come back to f4, because if there's no real advantage of going to h4 here, given that his bishop is there. So I'm thinking h6, I'm going to be dropping back to here. It does allow him a tempo there, but then maybe bishop up. Does he really want to be playing f6? I don't think so. I mean, we could have there, and then bishop over. So we can try and develop his pawn. We might throw a knight in that line. Could get quite messy. You could, no, not there. But he could go back maybe. There's ways that black can try and exchange lots off. It'd just be interesting what their mentality and their kind of rating is, because they are higher rated at 2035. Yeah, so I was thinking just drop back. I'm going to play it reasonably quickly. So that's another way I'm going to try and get up more on the clock, is what do I think my opponent's most likely move is, and what's my response to it, so I can think about it on their go. So they've got ambitious moves like g5, which I don't think are particularly well timed, because this e5 square is going to be mine, and you've not got your king out of the centre yet. I'm thinking this was kind of like one of the likely options, where I can either drop back, but I think I'll throw my knight forward. This is kind of thematic, knight h5, but usually when there's a pawn on e3, such that your bishop is kind of forced to get traded off. So if you go knight h5 now, I've got the option of sliding back to one of these squares. Could see castles, and the kind of final option we talked about a little bit before was this b6, bishop b7 idea. So I think it might make sense for them to castle, yeah, and then do this, so that I don't have the bishop there with check. So now I want to develop this bishop. So when this comes, do I want to have my bishop on e2 to defend the knight? Probably not. I think I can get away with putting it on one of these squares, and then when it comes, I can castle, and then when it's there, I can launch up, is what I'm thinking. Now where would I like it is the next question. I think having some pressure on this diagonal is going to be more useful than this diagonal. I just feel like there'll be some kind of sacrifice ideas on e6, and with the knight jumping on there, some weakness on f7, which I don't see the same kind of weakness on h7. So I think bishop up here is what we're going to go for. And my next moves are going to be castles and knight up to e5. It was probably perfectly valid to put it on d3, maybe set up a sacrifice idea of going over here. but I want to play against them having control over e5. They've still got some ideas of playing c5, which I think they've got to play at some point, right? And I don't have to take. I'll probably be castling following most of their moves, unless it's something like this. And then I've got to ask myself, what piece do I want on e5, right? Because if knight goes there, I've got the option of putting the bishop there, or I've got the option of sliding the bishop back and putting the knight on e5. So on c5, can I castle? Because takes, knight takes. Or do I want to trade and bring his bishop up? I don't think so. Maybe. Okay, so it goes for this idea. b6, bishop e7. We'll be attacking the knight, so I think I want to castle. Bishop's going to come out and then play my knight up here. I've got to be careful with my g2 square. Maybe I go knight there first. Doesn't matter. I think castle, you've got to be castled, haven't you? Let's do that. See if that's any better likewise. Okay, so we're building up to a 4-minute time advantage, which is really nice. Yep, and bishop goes there. So I've got the option of jumping straight in with my knight, or I kind of like rook e1 as well. So he'll be trying to get a queen here, or a queen on this diagonal at least. So if we go rook over, might have c5 with this trade. I think I should have my knight up. Do I? Because if knight goes up and we end up trading, I lose a bit of a defender of that square. I think maybe rook over. It's more flexible. I don't think he'll trade, but maybe it's an idea. And like I say, I think the move you should be thinking about is c5, and then whether we go into this. Yeah, and the thing I've got to be thinking about is any kind of sacrifice ideas on e6. The knight there, or maybe taking with the rook is very ambitious. Yeah, I almost want to be able to take with the rook, get the check in, and already have the knight on e5. I think that could then be more deadly. So with the knight there, it's just a trade. So maybe we need like our queen out here, maybe. So then when this comes in, we can take with the queen. And already have our knight there, so it's a check. And then like the king's forced here and check. And king goes back. That would force like a repetition, if nothing else. So yeah, there's maybe a forced draw line with a sacrifice here. Maybe we want to be doubling our rooks, so maybe like rook e3 makes some sense. But yeah, I think the next move's got to be knight up to e5. He's got to decide whether on c5 we want to be bringing our knight to this square. Bishop up. Again, whether we put our knight up here. I think we can do this. It's the square I wanted for my knight anyway. I suppose I just got to be careful of like not knight h5 because of the queen, but like knight back. As I say, there's lots of ways that black can exchange lots of pieces. Could you get takes? I'll probably come back. Or whether I leave it there and play my queen out and then knight takes, take with the rook. I'm not sure. So I could see some of these central pieces getting dissolved at some point. And then it's, yeah, I kind of like long term, this bishop, I think it's got more prospects on the diagonal that we put it on, so this is good. I think my queen wants to come out here. I've just got to be careful about this diagonal I've left available. So maybe like this kind of move from them might be strong. Or maybe I can go on attack over here. Takes, nothing immediate happening. Maybe if we get able to get a rook lift in, then we might be in business. So yeah, I think that could be an idea. Sliding the rook over to h3 with this kind of battery is an idea. So again, a 6-minute time advantage. Hopefully it'll be a bit of a reverse where it's the opponent getting into time trouble and we're able to capitalise at the critical moment. It's all about playing quickly where you can. Yeah, okay, so now we see c5. I think we can just take. So it does release my control of the knight, but takes, there's some pressure here. I kind of like queen out, threatening to bring a rook in, attack their queen, and their queen's got no infiltration squares, right? If we bring our queen up there, they don't have anywhere along the d file that they can plop their queen. So I think we can take. It is opening up the scope of both their bishops. These pieces are a bit loose, but I think I'm going to have something over here sacrifice-wise soon. So one option is I can trade queens, but I don't want to give them the file. What about like this? That's a bit annoying, isn't it? Blunts a lot of my ideas and gives them quite a nice central square for the knight. But I can work around it. I can bring my rooks over. There. What about in here? It's kind of annoying. Can I take here straight away? Another question, right? Let's look at that. There, rook takes, pawn takes. I get 2 pawns for the 2 pieces. And this way, probably get mated. You could trade queens first. I'm kind of there, and then I need to calculate this. Then can I jump in? Or I might need to play a more defensive move first. Can't play f3. I'm going back here. Trading does give him then an infiltration square, but I think I'm going to have some sacrifices, so I think it might be risky. You might also be able to like g5. I think I'll have to go this way to try and trade off the bishops. But I think there's something here. It's basically what I'm saying. Some kind of sacrifice, whether we're taking here first and then taking check. Like I said, I think this is like the forced draw line, because if you ever maybe there. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. It might just be that we get 2 pawns and the rook for the light squared bishop and the knight, which I don't know if is that good for me or not. Other option there would be just to put the rook up. Yeah, it's a knight there. That was one of the options, wasn't it? If we trade, push. Could swing over here, which looks a bit deadly. Threatening there. I mean, if I go here, he's got like this or this. So I'm not opposed to this. I think you would then go back, and then we need to find a good move here, which I think is this. Threatening the pawn here. Maybe like there. I'm just worried now that queen's going to come over here, which will be not very pleasant. But equally, do I want to be giving up my light squared bishop? If I drop back, queen there. I'm thinking this probably practically gives me the most. We'll go into this line. Not saying I'm 100% convinced by it, but there we go. Yeah, then we push. And then queen over. Or do we don't have takes first, do we? Takes, check. No. The king slides. I don't have rook lifting squares, which is a bit of a pain. Yeah, so I think queen here is important, because I was also thinking maybe we bring rook over to attack the queen. If we go, say bishop goes back first, then we bring the rook over, queen here. I don't have time to play knight there, because he can take the bishop. I can get a rook, but he gets like check here. So that's why queen here first. Attacks over on the king side, but also defends some of what I'm up to. Yeah, and then there's none of this, because knight there. Wins the rook, wins the exchange. Okay, so we kind of leveled out on time, but opponents drop it down to 2.5. We're not gonna, they've gone where we expected, so we're not gonna mess around. I mean, on g5 we've got the option of a draw, right? No, we don't, because the queen's there. So g5 might be a move. h4, because it's pinned. f6. Check. Check. Who knows? Maybe that's a line. I think I'm trying to use the clock and put them under pressure with time-wise. See if we can get anywhere with that. And 90 seconds for them now. Phone on charge. So what are we expecting? I think probably king h7. Okay, yeah. With my follow-up, rook over. Kind of like being able to then get rid of the dark squared bishop. Need to be a bit wary about my back rank. So I've only got rooks defending it. I can't play f3. I might be looking at moving the h pawn up at some point. But like I said, I think the immediate move is going to be knight d7. Attacking both of these guys. Probably, if it was a slow position where I had time, like b3, h3 are probably moves I want to make, but I think having tempos are going to be important, right? Because I'm going to get sliced open by these bishops if he can start coordinating a queen, queen coming to some squares to create a battery. if he starts getting his rooks doubled and things coming to the middle, we're going to be in trouble. Okay, we're dropping really low on time now, so let's hope we can create something. Queen slides over. So one option, infiltrate. I don't know if I have enough for like sacrifices, because the queen defends the pawn. Is infiltrating semi-useful? I mean, where do you put your bishop? Here? And I protect it? Or maybe we continue with this idea. Does that become a threat at any point? Maybe. So which way do we try and like double the rooks? But I'm worried about my back rank. There. Get my rook stuck, don't I? Yeah, so I think my rook gets a bit stuck after this. So I think we put the knight in. He's got to move his rook over. I wonder if I can kind of keep the pressure up somehow, like. So he takes there. I wonder, like if I go here to put pressure on this pin, how do you defend this pawn? Not super easily, right? I kind of like that, because if your king comes up, I can take there. You can't really take with the king, and then you might end up getting forked, triple forked over here. So I like this move. Pressure on this diagonal. And when you've only got 10 seconds, we've just got to make some threats and hope that they miss our ideas. So this is the kind of immediate threat, but I think there's layers to this. Yep, so that's an option. So we could simply trade and pick up the pawn. That's something useful to have in your back pocket. Can we get away with taking here first? We drop a knight, so we're sacking a knight. Takes there with check, rook takes. Can we go here with a knight? Takes with check. King up. No, because we mate you. Okay, so there. There, rook up. There. Queen there. I think that has some legs to it, right? There, let's see. Queen's attacked. You've got to take there first. Well, okay. I think you'd probably want to interpose trading rooks. I can't take your queen because I could, but let's suppose this happens. We trade off queens. You take there, I take there. You can't come forward because you get mated. So You have to bring your rook forward. I put mine there. You've got to defend with your queen, and then I put my rook at the back. You defend with your bishop. I take with check. You take with your queen. I take your bishop. Yeah, what's that? What does that look like? Am I up an exchange in that line, maybe? Let's do it for calculation. Let's see if this works. Can I not take your... You take there, you take there. Take the queen for queen. Rook for rook. Doesn't get me anywhere. If I go back here. If I go back here, you can come up. If I go back here, you take the knight. So I think I take here. Takes there.